What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Johnny K Picks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with my bets so far for UFC 281 Adesanya versus Pereira. Now, first things first, please hit the like button. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel or if you just haven't done it yet. And don't forget to hit those notifications so you don't miss out on any of my new videos or live streams. So real quick, before we jump into everything here, a couple programming announcements. We're going to do our Wednesday live stream as we always do on Blood Money MMA's channel, Cody's channel, at our normal time Wednesday night. And then Friday night, we're also going to do it on Cody's channel as well. We're going to do a special pay-per-view live stream that we usually do right before the pay-per-view fights. We're going to do that Friday night. I'll always send out the reminder so everybody knows on my social media. So don't worry, you won't forget. I'll make sure of it. It'll be on my Twitter, Instagram, YouTube community tab, whatever you want to see, you'll see it. So just want to let everybody know we're going to be doing that this week. So there's a lot of stuff going on because it's pay-per-view. So let's jump into UFC Vegas 64 and go over the results and everything. So for my picks, I ended up going 6-5, not the greatest, but from my bets, let's go here real quick. I ended up winning 5 out of my 6 bets, and I ended up winning 5.52 units profit. So the only one that I didn't win on was the Maverick wins inside the distance. She had all the opportunities in the world to get that done by rear naked choke the whole fight, it seems like, and she just couldn't get to it. But that was the only loss, and I'm okay with that one. It was really close. She was really close to getting it. Just didn't happen, but everything else hit. Got the under in the Batista with Batista. Got the under with the Minner and Shylilian fight. All the little overs right there. Hadley and the Daniel Rodriguez Magny over, just barely got that too because that ended in the 3rd round. So good day for betting. We'll go over the results real quick too in the Ramona Pascual and the Vidal fight. A little crazy in the beginning. Little long walk dancing for Vidal. She was loving every moment of that. I'll tell you that. It took forever for her to get to the ring, but she ended up going in there, getting that flying knee to the body and got Ramona out of there. So I don't know if Ramona's going to be fighting in the UFC anymore after that one. We'll see what happens with that. Jake Hadley versus Carlos Candelario. Very good performance by Jake Hadley. He showed off. He has very good striking. It's got good defense like Dustin Poirier does. He lifts his elbow a little bit to block some punches. He's also showed off his really good grappling and submission too. So once he went to the ground on his back, he's very dangerous, and he got that triangle choke right away. So good win for him, and let's see if he can build on this one. He is pretty good, so I want to see what he can do next. So Johnny Munoz versus Ludovic Sholinian. Ludovic is not that good. Johnny Munoz showed off really good striking, pretty good wrestling and grappling, but all he needed to do was keep the fight on the feet, and he was going to win that one. Ludovic doesn't really have too much going for him other than him being very durable and has pretty good cardio. So other than that, I mean, I don't think he's going to be in the UFC for too much longer, but we'll see. Good win for Johnny Munoz. Polyana Viana versus Frey. Very shocked with Viana's striking, and she stunned Frey very early. Very good combo, and I believe it was a knee to the face too that rocked her a bit and got the knockout in 47 seconds. So all the credit in the world. I would have said by submission. Didn't expect a knockout. So good win for her. Let's see if she can capitalize on it. All of her wins so far in the UFC have come by submission or finish. So we'll see. Mario Batista versus Benito Lopez. Batista looked like a world beater. He was going to win that fight. He knew he was going to win that fight, and Benito had no reason to be in that ring, let's be honest. So very good win for Batista. I'm not taking anything away from him because he dominated, and he needs to start fighting some better level competition now. Miranda Maverick versus Shanna Young. Maverick dominated the whole 3 rounds. Very close to getting the submission in all 3 rounds, like I said earlier. She's moving on up too. I think she needs to fight some better competition too, and we'll see because she's starting to get a little win streak here going. So I think she's almost ready for ranked fighters or right on the cusp. So she's improving in every fight, and let's see if she keeps on doing it. Grant Dawson versus Mark Madsen. Very good performance by Grant Dawson. Very good wrestling, very good grappling. Basically was a backpack on Mark Madsen for basically the whole fight, and chewed up his leg as the fight was going on the feet. And yeah, Madsen just couldn't do it anymore in the third round, and he got that rear naked choke. So good win for Dawson. I know he came in a little heavy, but maybe that was by design. But I know he was taking that on short notice, so I'll give him a little bit of credit for that, or a little pass if you want to say for that. But good win for him, and yeah, it's time for him to see some better competition too. Get some close ranked fighters too. I think he's been in the UFC for a while, so let's see what he can do now. Ulberg versus Manes. Very good win by Ulberg. Would never have thought that would happen. Manes looked good on the feet early, and once that first takedown hit, it was pretty much game over. And I did not think Tagir would get that submission. So good win for him. And let's see what he can do next with his. Everyone's just seems like they're getting their little streak going, and I want to see them in their next fight because I think they need to start fighting some good opponents here. The controversy of the night, Nurmagomedov versus Minner. So right before this fight, I was looking on Twitter, and everyone's saying how the line is just going towards Shalinian, and I think he was about a minus 210, and then all of a sudden he was a minus 400, like right before his fight. So I don't know if Minner was hurt as he came in. I want to say he was, because once he threw that one kick, he was very gimpy, and I think there was maybe some insider trading or shenanigans going on there, and a lot of people found out that he was injured and he wasn't going to win that fight, and a lot of money came in on Shalinian. I had the under 2.5, so I was okay with that. But good win for Nurmagomedov. So can't fault him for Minner having the injury coming in. So it's just kind of bad when that happens, though. It just seems like it's a little shady, and I don't. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, but it is what it is. Neil Magny versus Daniel Rodriguez. Very good fight. I thought this was probably the fight of the night. And first round was very close. He could have gave that to Magny. And second round, I thought it was D-Rod. And the third round, D-Rod hurt him early and got on top of him. And then I believe he kind of let him up and ended up getting submitted for that. So I don't know why he did that. Maybe he should have just stayed on like a wet blanket on him, because he already knocked him down and got a knockdown. And he could have won that fight, but he ended up getting up, and he seemed like he was a little gassed, and Magny didn't. So he recovered very nicely when he was on the ground, and good win for Magny. And we'll see what happens with both these guys. Both these guys are 35 years old, and they're not young pups, and we'll see what happens. And the main event, Amanda Lemos versus Marina Rodriguez. Another stunner here. I mean, I knew Lemos had the ability to knock out Rodriguez. I just didn't think it was going to happen. And I know everyone thinks it was a early stoppage. It might have been a touch early, but let's be honest, it was inevitable. Sorry. Lemos was going to get that knockout, whether it was standing or whether Marina went to the ground and Lemos just landed punches, ground and pound knockout. So good win for Amanda. I didn't think that was going to happen. She was the only underdog, I believe, that hit that night or last night. So I think most of these were favorites, or very slight favorites, if you want to say. I don't think a lot of underdogs hit unless it was like right before they fought. So I know going into this fight, only Lemos was the underdog. So overall, pretty good card. So we will jump into, let me get out of here real quick. That's the last fight. Sorry. We'll jump into Adesanya versus Pereira. So we'll go to the first fight here, which is going to be Carlos Ulberg versus Negumereanu. I can't even say that name. Sorry, guys. Ulberg is 6-1, 31 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach. And Nick, will say, is 13-1, 28 years old, 6 foot, with a 78-inch reach. So Ulberg is a very good striker. He's got good kickboxing. He's got good power in his hands. He's got good kicks. He keeps his range very well. He likes to circle the cage and stay on the outside. If he does pace himself accordingly, he does have pretty good cardio. In that one fight against I can't even say his name either. Kennedy, we'll just say, he did gas himself out trying to get that first round finish. But so I don't know if that was just an outlier. But his last 2 fights, I know this was an early KO, but the Charant fight, he did pace himself pretty good in that fight. Kind of low volume in that fight too, but he ended up winning that fight. So he is kind of hittable at times, though. We don't really know how good he is on the ground if he gets taken down. So we'll see if Nick can do that. But other than that, he's a pretty good striker. Nick, he's pretty well rounded. He's got good boxing. I wouldn't say it's amazing. He's kind of wild with his striking. He's got good power. He likes to push forward. He's very tough and durable. He's got a good clinch game. He's got good takedowns. He can be hittable as well. In the Kennedy fight, he fought Kennedy as well, and he was very hittable. I know Kennedy has a huge reach advantage against him, but he was just rushing in and getting tagged each time. So this is a pretty interesting fight to start out the night. I like it. If Nick can make this a more of a brawl than a technical kickboxing match, I favor him. But if Ulberg can make this a more technical kickboxing match, I favor him. So this is a very close fight. I'm going to go with Nick here, though. I just think he has a little bit more weapons in his arsenal. If you want to say he's got wrestling, he can fall back on. If he gets those takedowns early, I think that'll pay dividends later in the round. If he gets pushed up against the cage, I think he's very good when he's in the clinch, like I said. So give me Nick here. I'm gonna say this goes to decision. I think it's gonna be a close fight. And I just think Nick's gonna do a little bit more overall with the striking and the takedowns and the grappling. And he could potentially get a late ground and pound or maybe submission, but I'm going to say it's going to be by decision. So with my pick here, I'm going to go with Nick to win by decision. So the next fight we got is going to be Julio Arce versus Montel Jackson. Arce is 18-5, 33 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach. And Jackson is 11-2, 30 years old, 5'11", with a 75.5-inch reach. So Arce is a very good technical striker. He's got very good boxing, good counters, good jab. He does have okay wrestling and grappling, but he is a striker first. He's not going to go for takedowns immediately and try to be like a wrestle first game plan, but he will wrestle you if he has to. And he's got a good ground game if he does get to the ground. Jackson also is a well-rounded fighter. He's got good striking. He's got good power, good takedowns in wrestling. He's going to have the height and reach advantage of 3 inches and 5.5-inch reach. So that's going to be a advantage for him on the feet. And if he can keep his range, I think that's going to be huge for him too. I'm going to go with Jackson here. This is going to be a close fight too, I think. Maybe the line isn't, what it really should be. I think I don't want to say this is a 50-50 fight, but it's pretty close to it, I think. But I like Jackson here. Like I said, I think he just has a little bit more to his game. He can use the ground game and the wrestling and grappling. Arce does have good takedown defense, so it's gonna be hard for Jackson to get the takedowns. But even if not, this will be a close fight on the feet because of that range. So another fight I do see going the distance. Montel does have some power that he could knock out Arce, and Arce did get knocked out by Yadong Song recently. So with my pick, though, I'm going to go with Jackson here. I think it's going to go to decision, and another close fight to start the night off. All right, next fight we got is Mike Trizano versus Sang-Woo Choi. And Trizano is 9-3, 30 years old, 5'11", with a 71-inch reach. And Choi is 10-5, 30 years old, 6 foot, with a 74.5-inch reach. So Trizano likes to push forward. He likes to put a pace on his opponent. He's got okay striking. He can be hittable. He's sort of low volume, which is like, I don't like low volume strikers that like to push forward. It's just weird to me. He doesn't, in his last couple fights where he lost against Almeida and Dawodu, he pushed forward and he just didn't throw enough strikes, and he got hit, kept getting hit, and he got knocked out against Lucas Almeida. And that was what, 4 months ago? So I don't know if he's coming back a little too early. We'll see here. But he's got good wrestling too as well. But I think he's gonna stay on the feet for most of this fight. And Choi is a very good boxer. It's got good power, good counters. He can be hittable as well. He's got good combos. Doesn't really have the greatest ground game or submission defense, but um, he's a striker. He wants to keep this fight on the feet too. So another close one, I'll say. But I like Choi here, though. I think, like I said, I think this fight will play out on the feet. And if that's the case, I just like Choi striking more. I think it's more technical. And if Trizano does, throw a little bit more volume in this fight, I think it'll be closer. But as he's pushing forward, I think Choi will be able to counter all of his strikes and stay at range because he will have a slight reach advantage of 3.5 inches. And that's going to help him out in this fight too. I'm going to say this goes to decision as well. It wouldn't shock me if Choi gets a late knockout because, like I said, I don't know if Trizano's coming back a little bit too early from his last knockout with Almeida. But yeah, give me Choi here. I think he wins by decision. It'll be another striker versus striker here. We'll see. I think this will be a good fight as well. All right. Moving on up the card, we got Karolina Kowalkiewicz, I hope I said that right, versus Silvana Gomez Juarez. Karolina is 13-7, 37 years old, 5'3", with a 64-inch reach. And Gomez Juarez is 11-4, 37 years old, 5'3", with a 63-inch reach. So Karolina is mainly a striker. She did show some good grappling in her last matchup against Felice Herrig. She got the rear naked choke. And she's not necessarily a KO artist, but she has very good volume. She can be hittable at times, which worries me a bit in this fight. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see if she improved her grappling. I'm interested to see if she's going to use a ground, like a wrestling grappling game plan in this fight. Juarez is a striker, make no mistake about it. She's got very good power for the division. Doesn't really have a ground game whatsoever. And that worries me if Karolina has a wrestling heavy game plan, if you want to say, or grappling game plan. But on the feet, for me, I like Juarez a lot. I think she'll be able to outbox Karolina, and she definitely has the power to knock her out, I believe. The only way I can see Karolina win this fight is she mixes in the takedowns here and there, tries to clinch up with her and maybe trip her and get her to the ground. And that's where Juarez isn't good. So this is a close fight for me. I don't know. I kept going back and forth. I just think it's going to be a Karolina submission or a Juarez knockout. And I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to go with Juarez here. I'm going with the striker, who I think is the better striker with the power. Some of her knockouts are nasty, and but I'm just scared she's going to get taken down and she's going to get submitted right after that. So, but I'm not 100% sold on Karolina's grappling yet. I want to see if she can do it in this fight. So that's another reason why I'm going with Juarez. I'm going to say Juarez does get that knockout. I'm going to say in the second round, but very interesting fight to see if both of these fighters have improved their on what they need to. Let's put it that way. And we'll move on up to the next one is Ottoman Azaitar versus Matt Frevola. Ottoman is 13-0, 32 years old, 5'8", with a 71-inch reach. And Frevola is 9-3-1, 32 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach. So Ottoman's a very good striker. He's got good power. Little red flag, though. He hasn't fought in a little over 2 years, but he's got knockout, 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 and knockout. So 5 straight knockouts in a row. He's a knockout artist. He's got, like I said, very good striking, clean boxing with his hands, and he's got very quick counters. And yeah, we'll see what happens, but I like his striking a lot. And Frevola is more of a well-rounded guy. He's got good wrestling and good power in his hands. He can be hittable, which that kind of scares me. And it just seems like whenever he gets hit pretty clean, he just gets a little bit rocked or wobbled, if you want to say, kind of easily. And that worries me in this fight a lot, because I think if Ottoman lands clean, he's going to be wobbled and he might not be able to recover. I know in Frivola's last fight, I believe it was against, Valdez. I think those two went out in the first round and went a little crazy. They both were going for it. He got Frevola got rocked, and but he ended up recovering and ended up getting the finish himself. So he's tough. He's got good toughness. So we'll see. This is gonna be a good fight. I'm gonna go with Ottoman here. I think he'll be able to get that knockout here early. I'm gonna say in the first round. Frevola does like to push forward, kind of make it a crazy fight. And if he does make it a brawl, I think Ottoman will be able to land one of those shots that puts him down. And I don't think he's going to be able to recover because he's got the power and speed to do it. And so give me Ottoman here. And I'm going to say by knockout in the first round. Next fight is Andre Petroski versus Wellington Turman. And Petroski is 8-1, 31 years old, 6 foot with a 73-inch reach. And Turman is 18-5, 26 years old, 6 foot with a 72-inch reach. So Petroski is a very good wrestler with very good takedowns. He's a very good grappler as well with very good submissions. His striking isn't the greatest, but it is improving. He does have power in his hands if he lands. He's just not the most technical striker. His cardio can be an issue if the fight goes on, the longer the fight goes, but I think that's mainly because in a lot of his fights, he does go for that finish in the first round, and that could gas him out more so than his cardio, than he would if he does pace himself. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in this fight. So Turman is also a very good grappler. He's got very good submissions. He's not the greatest striker either. Does have okay power in his hands, but he can be hittable. And man, this fight's gonna be good. I like Petroski a lot in this fight, actually, and I'm pretty confident he does get this one done. I just think he's gonna be a little bit better wrestler. I think he'll be able to get those takedowns pretty easily. And Wellington's good off his back, so that kind of worries me. But I do like I said, I like Petroski's offensive grappling when he's on top. He always goes for submissions. He advances. He tries to take the back. He tries to go for the arm, arm triangles or a head and arm choke, stuff like that. He doesn't just sit there on top and hope that he doesn't get submitted. He works for submissions, and he's going to be active. And Turmington will be active as well. On the feet, though, like I said, I think this pretty close. I'll give Petroski a slight edge, but it's nothing crazy. But I'm gonna go with Petroski to win. Like I said, I'm not that big on Turman quite yet. I know he won his last fight against Misha Serkinov, but honestly, that fight was pretty close. And if I want to say, maybe Serkinov was winning that fight until that armbar. So yeah, give me Petroski here. I think he does get some kind of finish, whether it's a knockout or like a ground and pound, or maybe even like a club and sub. But with my pick, I'm going to say he wins by submission. Maybe like I said, a club and sub or something like that. Next fight is going to be Aaron Blanchfield versus Molly McCann. And Blanchfield is 9-1, 23 years old, 5'4", with a 68-inch reach. And McCann is 13-4, 32 years old, 5'4", with a 62-inch reach. So that's a pretty big reach advantage. That's crazy. Anyways, if that's true, that is crazy. I didn't see that until just now. It's a 6-inch reach advantage. But anyways, Blanchfield is a very good grappler and wrestler. She's got okay striking, but her bread and butter is definitely going to be her grappling and wrestling. She's going to probably go for wrestling, get the takedowns, and not mess around too much on the feet, because Molly McCann is a very solid striker. She's got some crazy spinning elbows, as we all know from her highlight reel, spinning elbow knockout at UFC London. She's not a bad wrestler either. She can get the takedowns, but I don't think she's going to want to wrestle and grapple with Blanchfield. But her takedown defense is not the greatest, and I think that's the key in this fight. If Blanchfield goes for those takedowns, I think she's going to be able to get her down and get the win here. If not, it's going to be close on the feet. I might slightly favor McCann, but I really feel like Blanchfield is going to get it done here. She's impressed me in each of her fights, and although she did have a minor scare in her last fight against JJ Aldridge, She ended up still getting the submission and showed her toughness. And yeah, I like that. I mean, Molly's going to be a tough out. The line, I believe, is Aaron Blanchfield around like minus 390, 400 range. And I think that's a little off in this fight. But I do think Aaron Blanchfield should be the favorite. And I think she will get it done with her takedowns. And I don't see a finish here. I think it's going to go to decision. Most of Blanchfield's fights have gone to decision, except the last one against Aldridge. She just got, I don't want to say she got lucky, but she got that guillotine pretty easily. So with my pick, though, I'm going to go with Blanchfield. I think she gets it done by decision. Going to be a good fight, though. All right. Dominic Reyes versus Ryan Spann. So Reyes is 12-3, 32 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach. And Ryan Spann is 20-7, 31 years old, 6'5", with an 81.5-inch reach. So let's get to here real quick. Okay, so Reyes is coming back from a 1.5 year layoff. I know he's lost 3 in a row here. He lost to Yuri in his last fight, like I said, 1.5 years ago. He's got good striking, solid power. He's got some decent wrestling and grappling if he wants to use it, but he's mainly a striker first. I'm glad he took a little bit of time off after a couple of KOs in a row. I think he needed it because in that John Jones fight, after that, some say he might have won or was closer than people thought. But then he took some time. So I don't know. Maybe he worked on some stuff. Maybe he got his chin a little bit stronger because a lot of people try to come back early from knockouts and they get knocked out again. So I'm glad he took some time off, and we'll see what happens in this fight. So Ryan Spann, he is probably one of the top 5 biggest wild cards for the UFC. You just don't know what Ryan Spann you're going to get. But he's a very solid striker. He's got good power in his hands, likes to push forward, good wrestling. He does have good submissions as well, but like I said, his fight IQ isn't the greatest. You just don't know what you're going to get into. He looked very good against Ian Cutelaba, stuffing those takedowns and then getting the submission. Didn't look good at all against Anthony Smith, and they ended up getting submitted. Looked good against Misha Serkinov, got the knockout, and he almost won that fight against Johnny Walker. He stunned Johnny Walker. They kept stunning each other, but he's got on the wrong end of it at some point and lost. But we'll see. Like he's not a bad fighter. You just don't know what you're going to get into or you're going to get from him. So I'm going to go with Reyes here just because of that. I think Reyes is also the better overall fighter as well. I don't know what's going to happen. He's been gone for 1.5 years, so maybe he improved and maybe he didn't. So maybe he's going to have a little bit of ring rust in the first round, but I think as the fight goes on, if it gets out of the first round, I think he will start to get in the swing of things, if you want to say, and start doing what he does and what people remembered Dominic Reyes for. I don't think this will go to the distance. Spann does get knocked out and finish a lot, and he finishes too. So he's kind of like a kill or be killed fighter. And Reyes does have good finishing ability too. So I'm gonna say he gets the knockout, and I'm gonna say he gets it in the second round. I think the first round's gonna be a feeling out process, and Reyes is gonna want to get in the swing of things, and Spann's gonna take it a little easy. He's not gonna be wild like he usually is. And he knows this is going to be a big fight for him if he wins. So, like I said, with my pick, I'm going to go with Reyes. I think he's going to get the knockout in the second round. All right. Featured prelim of the night before the main card is Ronaldo Moicano versus Brad Riddell. Moicano is 16-5-1, 33 years old, 5'11", with a 72-inch reach. And Riddell is 10-3, 31 years old, 5'7", with a 71-inch reach, we'll say. And yeah, Moicano is a very good grappler. He's got good submissions, good rear naked chokes, got good solid striking as well. He can be hittable. He doesn't really move his head too much, so he needs to move his head, otherwise he's gonna get hit a lot. So he has been knocked out 3 times out of his 5 losses, so that's something to think about there. And also he was just in a war against RDA 6 months ago, where that fight could have been stopped multiple times. I remember having a bet on that to not go the distance, and somehow it did. Weird. But Riddell is also a very solid striker. He's got good wrestling and takedowns, but he's been finished twice in a row lately. He was finished by Fiziev knockout in the 3rd round, I believe, and he just got club and subbed by Jalen Turner 3 months ago. And yeah, Turner landed a clean shot and he just dropped. So when you see that sub, it was a club and sub, and he got rocked, and Turner just got the guillotine instead of going for the knockout. So this is an interesting fight. I'm gonna go with Moicano, because I don't know if I trust Riddell's chin. I'll be honest. I think Moicano has, like I said, he's got good boxing, he's got decent power, and if he can land a clean shot on Riddell, I think he's going to be able to get a club and sub very easily, just as easy as Turner did. And I'm just scared. 3 months ago, he got knocked out. Basically, it wasn't, and then subbed. And to me, it's not a good look. I don't like backing fighters like that, especially 2 knockouts in a row. Yeah, Moicano does have. I think he has the better ground game too. So if Moicano does go for takedowns, I think he'll be able to land them as well. And Riddell's takedown defense isn't that great. It's at 62%. So give me Moicano here, and I think he's gonna get a club and sub type of thing, or maybe like a rear naked choke if he gets a takedown eventually, and just get on his back. So with my pick, I'm gonna say he gets that sub. I'll say 1st round. Why not? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the 2nd, but I think he's gonna get a submission. All right, main card here. We're going to do Dan Hooker versus Claudio Puelles. And Hooker is 21-12, 32 years old, 6 foot with a 75.5-inch reach. And Puelles is 12-2, 26 years old, 5'10 with a 72-inch reach. So Hooker is a very good kickboxer and a good striker. He's got good kicks with good power. He can be hittable. He's been knocked out, I want to say, a few times. So he got knocked out against Arnold Allen recently, and that was 6 months ago. Islam got him in a Kimura very quickly, and he got knocked out against Chandler very early on in that fight, and he lost to Dustin, which he got rocked a few times in that fight. So he's taken some damage over his last 5 fights, and not a good look. Doesn't have the greatest ground game, but he's got good defensive, defensive ground or submission game, if you want to say. He's got okay takedown defense. And Puelles, on the other hand, he's on a little roll here. He's winning some fights. I think he's at least 5 in a row. Yep. And he looked good against Clay Guida. Got that knee bar. Looked good against Chris Grutzemacher. Got that knee bar. He's the knee bar master here. He's got 3 knee bars in the UFC, which is crazy, but he's very dangerous on the ground. He's got very good grappling, good takedowns. He's not that bad on the feet, actually. I know people sometimes you forget about how good he does have decent striking. It's not awful, but Hooker will have the better striking of the 2. Don't get me wrong, but if this fight gets to the mat, it's going to be Puelles all day, and I like his chances on the mat. I think he'll be able to get this fight to the mat, and yeah, give me Puelles as the underdog. I think he will get a submission, maybe a knee bar, make it 3 in a row. That's crazy if he does, though. Hooker needs to keep this fight on the mat to win, or not on the mat. I'm sorry. He needs to keep this fight on the feet to win this fight. And I think Puelles will have at least a couple chances to get it done. He'll get this fight to the mat eventually. And I think he's going to get that submission. So with my pick, I'm going to say Puelles wins this one by submission. And I'll say 2nd round, knee bar. Maybe even a flying knee bar. Why not? All right. Next fight. Frankie Edgar versus Chris Gutierrez. Frankie Edgar is 24, 10, and 1, 41 years old, 5'6", with a 68-inch reach. And Gutierrez is 18, 3, and 2, 31 years old, 5'9", with a 67-inch reach. So Edgar is coming off of a couple very, very brutal knockouts. And actually, three of his last 3 losses, he's been knocked out. And that's very a big red flag for me. But he's got pretty good striking on the feet. He's known for being a wrestler. He's got very good takedowns, very good grappling as well. He likes to go for those takedowns, and we'll see. I know lately he hasn't been, and I'm wondering if that's going to change because the last couple times he didn't go for takedowns, he got knocked out. So we'll see what happens. And Gutierrez is mainly a striker. He's got very good leg kicks. Doesn't have the greatest KO power, but I know in his last fight, I was at UFC Columbus where this happened. He did knock out Batgarel by a spinning back fist or elbow. And but like I said, he's not known for a KO, being a KO artist or getting a submission, but he doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, but if he does get taken down, he does work himself back up. He doesn't like to stay on the mat for too long. So we'll see what happens here. I'm going to go with Gutierrez. I think he'll be able to keep this fight. He'll be more active on the feet, definitely outstrike Frankie. Frankie's chance to win here, I believe, is just using his wrestling and getting this fight to the mat as much as he can. Maybe tire out Gutierrez after a while, but Frankie's 41 years old, and I'm not so sure how this chin's going to hold up. It's 11 months ago, so maybe it recovered a little bit, but I mean, we'll see. It's too much of a red flag for me to back Edgar here. Being 41 years old, he's going to be the little bit smaller fighter, and yeah, give me Gutierrez. I think I don't know if he's going to be able to knock him out. I'm going to say this goes to decision, and Gutierrez wins a very close decision. So this is going to be an interesting fight. And we have the first one of the top 3 fights, Dustin Poirier versus Michael Chandler. Poirier is 28-7, 33 years old, 5'9", with a 73-inch reach. And Chandler is 23-7, 36 years old, 5'8", with a 71.5-inch reach. So we all know both these guys. These guys are at the top of the lightweight division. They're very good fighters. They always put on a show. They're not going to disappoint us for that. Poirier is a very good boxer, has very good striking. He's got some decent grappling, but I mean, make no mistake, he's a striker first. He's very good defensive striking. And he likes to brawl. He's not going to sit back and just do one punch and move. He's gonna go for it. He's gonna go for that knockout, and he's gonna put on a show. Like I said, I know he lost to Oliveira by submission, but he knocked out Conor with a broken ankle, knocked out Conor legit, knocked out Hooker. That was a very good fight. So I'm seeing more. This is gonna be a good fight, like I said. And Chandler, he's pretty well-rounded. He's very explosive early on. That's the one thing about Chandler that I really like. He's super explosive. He's got good power. He's got good kicks, as you saw in his last fight where he sent Tony Ferguson to the Shadowland. He lost to Gaethje in a brawl pretty much all 3 rounds. And he lost to Oliveira by a knockout too. So, like I said, both these guys want to put on a show. They want to go for it. And I just think Chandler is a little bit more hittable, and I think that's going to be the key here. I think Poirier will be able to outstrike Chandler, land the cleaner strikes. I think he'll, and plus he shows a lot of damage on his face too. And I don't know if it's just because he gets a lot of damage on his face because he doesn't have the greatest striking defense. But give me Poirier here. I think he wins this one. I don't think there's going to be a knockout. I think this will go all 3 rounds, and this will be a great fight. None of these guys aren't going to sit back and do nothing. They're going to go for the finish, but both these guys are very tough. And I think this will go to the judges, and Poirier will win 29-28. So give me Poirier here. I'm pretty confident he'll win this one, but wouldn't be shocked if Chandler maybe he goes wrestling and gets those takedowns early and tires out Poirier. So we'll see. This is going to be a very good fight. Looking forward to this one. And the co-main event here, we're going to do Carla Esparza versus Weili Zhang. And Esparza is 19-6, 35 years old, 5'1", with a 63-inch reach. And Weili is 22-3, 33 years old, 5'4", with a 63-inch reach. So Esparza, I mean, she's a wrestler. We all know this. Doesn't have the greatest striking on the feet. She definitely wants to get this fight to the mat and use her ground and pound, maybe get some submissions as well. I'll go work for submissions. But her last fight, we all know how boring, let's be honest, boring it was against Rose. You can say she won, sure, but both those fighters lost that night, let's be honest. And but she looked good against Jan in that fight. So I will give her credit for that because she looked really good. So she's got some good wins. She got a win against Marina Rodriguez too, a split decision. So yeah, she's just gonna have to use her wrestling. That's basically why she's the champion and what she's good at. Weili, very good striker, very good power. She is starting to learn more wrestling, so she's getting better at that. She beat Joanna by a spinning back fist in her last fight, and she lost to Rose in a very close one, the second one, and the knockout head kick, which we all know about that one. But she was steamrolling a lot of these fighters until those two Rose fights. But I will say, though, Rose did use her wrestling to win that fight late in that fight. So we'll see, because Esparza is very good wrestler, and she might be the best wrestler in that division. So I'm going to go with Weili here. I think she does get it done. I think she'll be able to outstrike, obviously, Esparza on the feet. And if this fight does get to the mat, I think Weili will be able to hold her own. I think she'll be able to work her way back up on her feet and keep the fight standing. And maybe she'll get a couple takedowns herself. I mean, we'll see. She's been, like I said, she's been using her wrestling more, Weili. So I'm liking Weili. I think she's just a better fighter here. So give me Weili to get her belt back here. And she's just a force. It's hard not to pick against her, and she's the favorite for a reason. I think it's pretty understandable that she's like a 3-1 favorite. So give me Weili. I'm going to say she gets it done in the third round. I'm going to say by knockout. Why not? Let's do it. A lot of fights, women's MMA fights have been ending by knockout or submission. So let's go. Let's keep the trend rolling. And we got the main event. Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. Adesanya is 23-1, 33 years old, 6'4", with an 80-inch reach. And Pereira is 6-1, 35 years old, 6'4", with an 80-inch reach as well. So where do we begin? Let's go with Izzy. We all know Izzy. He is an amazing striker. He's got one of the best fight IQs, I would say, in the UFC. Very hard to hit. He's got good counters, got good leg kicks, got good takedown defense. This fight's not going to the mat. I'd be shocked if it does, but we'll see. Very good kickboxer, and he does have some decent power. I mean, most of his fights have been winning by decision, just out voluming his opponents, and he's a very hard puzzle to solve. I'm noticing, and I've been betting him each and every time, even against Jan. I bet him. I just thought he would beat Jan, but Jan was the bigger fighter. He got the takedowns, and that's how he won. I mean, no offense to Jan, but that's how he won. But it just seems like nobody can beat Izzy. But I will tell you this: the one guy that I personally feel like that can beat Israel Adesanya, and not just because he beat him twice in kickboxing. I really think Alex Pereira could beat Izzy right now. He looked very good in his UFC debut against Michailidis, flying knee. He looked really good against Silva. Couldn't get him out of there, but he wobbled Silva forever, multiple times. And he got Sean Strickland, who was a very good striker, good defensive striker too, and he got him out of there about 3 months ago with a left hook. So that's his money shot, if you want to say, his left hook. I think he even knocked out Izzy with that left hook. So, man, I'll tell you what, I'm still going back and forth here. as we talk, and I'm not trying to stall, but I am stalling. I am going, like I said, I don't think anybody in the middleweight division right now is going to be able to beat Izzy. And I think Whitaker is the second best middleweight right now. And I really think Whitaker can beat Pereira. But I'm going to say Pereira wins. Why not? This is the only guy I think that can beat Izzy and take the belt from Izzy is going to be Pereira. And it's because they're the same height. They have the same reach. They're the same style. They're both kickboxers. And this is going to be a kickboxing match. This isn't going to be an MMA. Who's going to go for takedowns? Both these guys are probably not going to go for takedowns. This is going to be a straight kickboxing match. And I think Pereira is going to win a straight kickboxing match. I don't know if he's going to be able to knock him out. And maybe the later rounds, Izzy will have an edge due to his cardio. And because I don't know if Pereira will be able to, have all of his cardio 100% all 5 rounds, maybe the first 3 rounds. But I think he's going to I think he's going to be able to get it done. And I'm going to say he's going to get it done. I'm going to say by knockout. I'm going to say he gets it done in the 3rd round with a left hook again. I know it's crazy. It's crazy even just saying it. I'll be honest. But I'm going to go with Pereira by knockout 3rd round. Why not? Crazy, crazy, crazy. But it's going to be a very good fight no matter what. I'm just rolling the dice. Why not? And if you're going to take anybody against Izzy, I think this is the guy to do it. But I got a couple bets so far. And one of my bets is going to be Azaitar to win money line. I got that at plus 105. And I only put 1 unit on it. I just think he's going to be able to get Frevola out of there either in the 1st or 2nd round. I think he's the better striker. He's got good power. Frevola's chin is a little suspect. He likes to make it a brawl more so. And if that's the case, I think Ottoman will be able to land one hook or a counter or something like that where Matt's not looking. And I think he's going to go down. So I'm going to take a shot at the underdog here. It's a slight underdog at plus 105. So give me that one. And then I have a 2-fighter parlay with Dustin Poirier and Weili to both to win. And I put 1 unit, actually 1.25 units on that. And I got that at plus 103, I believe. I'm going to look real quick so I don't want to tell you that I'm lying. Yeah, 1.25 units to win at plus 103. So, like I said, I think Poirier is just a little bit better at this time. Michael Chandler is very good and very dangerous early, but I think Poirier's boxing is going to shine here, and he'll be in a striking defense too. So I think he'll win that one, and I think Weili is just the better fighter overall. I think she'll be able to get Esparza out of there eventually. So those are my 2 bets so far. And hopefully I will have more during the week. And yeah, definitely check back on my Instagram, my Twitter, and the comment section in this video. So that is it, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. And like I said, Wednesday, we're going to have the live stream on Blood Money's channel this time. We're going to do a special pay-per-view live stream on Friday night. It's going to be on Cody's channel, Blood Money MMA Bets as well. We're going to have Patrick from Addicted to Combat. We're going to have Bert from Bert's MMA on there as well. And we're going to do it all over again and have some fun, do some giveaways. So definitely come check that out. Appreciate you guys, like I said, for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't. Hope everybody enjoys the fights this weekend because I definitely will. And until next time, happy fight night.